What's up, everybody? It's your boy Tru Element 78 in the building with.
Your one and only reigning defending Mondo Lucha Hall of Famer, the X-Man Xavier Mustafa.
And once again, you have the two of us representing Saturday Night Slamcasters as the natural Chris Black is now attempting to get his wife back from the one and only, the sensational Devin August. So he has the belt and he has his girl. I don't know what this man Chris Black has going on, man. he's got to get it together. But today is Sunday, December 15th, 2019, and we are here to give you our NWA Into the Fire review. But before we get into that, we're going to let Xavier Mustafa give out some church announcements.
I'll let everybody know that Legacy Pro Wrestling will be returning live to the Root River Center in Franklin, Wisconsin for New Year's Eve Fight Night to December 31st. Bell time is 10 p.m. Doors open at 9:30. Tickets are $20 each, and you can get those at LegacyProWI.com and LegacyProWI on Facebook. They're available now. We're going to have in the main event, it's going to be a no-holds bars match between Neil Dillinger, the champion. He'll be defending against the former Legacy Pro Wrestling champion, Sean Priest. We're going to have Devin August stepping into the ring with our podcast colleague, Mr. Chris Black. They will be battling for the Next Generation Championship. We'll also have the Tag Team Championships on the line with the Ross family defending their titles against the Caribbean Connections, who they lost to a couple of months ago, and more. So make sure you check out the Facebook for the most up-to-date information.
Can it be a Chris Black's family on a pole match? Well, my, how the world has changed in the should I say 48 hours since it's been 24 hours since we did our podcast. As you guys know, this is up here on the YouTube page. If you're listening to it, obviously you know that. But also be sure to go and seek out our podcast, which can be found anywhere that you get your podcast from. Just search Saturday Night Slamcasters or hashtag Come Get Slam. But, man, the world has gone crazy. NWA Into the Fire was an awesome pay-per-view, but before we get into that, we had some traction. Somebody listened to our podcast, I guess, and sent Xavier Mustafa a message.
Well, you know what? We don't have to call out any names or anything, but somebody who I completely buried on the podcast, they reached out to me about me burying them on the podcast. I was like, listen, this is the situation. I've heard, things that have been talked about me, and I pretty much called you out on your bullshit. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not trying to create any drama or fight anybody or anything like that. But, if that person want to catch these hands, they can come on and catch these hands. But I don't think anything that I said was untrue. Everything that I said is my opinion based on knowing the person. Not that I know them extremely well, but I've met them and interacted with them enough to know the type of person that they are. And, it is what it is. I'm not apologizing. I'm not retracting any statements, but, it is what it is.
Would you be willing to sit down and smoke a joint and, let bygones be bygones? They're like, I'm sorry, bro. I love you, man. I never meant nothing.
I don't know if it'll go down like that, but I'm willing to sit down and have a talk with anybody. I'm not one of those type of people like, I'm not gonna, try to hash things out with people, but at the same time, I'm not one of those types that would run out and try to seek this to happen. Like me and this person isn't that close. So, but and smoking the joint, I don't do the marijuana. So you can smoke the joint.
Some CBD.
And I'll
CBD.
sip the tea.
Some CBD tea. CBD burgers. They got those at Soulwoman's now. So, All right. So, anyways, now let's get into the NWA pay-per-view, Into the Fire. I'm going to run down the winners and the losers, and then we'll get into what we liked on the show, what we didn't like on the show, match of the night, moments of the night, and then the shocking ending. And I have some theories about that shocking ending that we saw for NWA's Into the Fire. So, running down the card, we had Eli Drake defeat Ken Anderson. We had Thunder Rosa go over Tasha Steelz. We had the Question Mark defeat Trevor Murdoch. We had the Rock and Roll Express retain the NWA World Tag Team Championship. We had Melina and Marty Bell. They defeated Allison Kay and ODB. And we'll talk about how we got that match. And then we had Aaron Stevens defeat Colt Cabana and Ricky Starks to become the NWA National Champion. We also had Nick Aldis defeating James Storm to retain the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship in a best 2 out of 3 falls match. So, Xavier Mustafa, you want to start with the good, the bad, or the ugly?
Let's start with the bad and ugly.
All right,
Get
so
that out the way.
what?
Get the uncomfortableness out of the way.
So, what on this show did you have any problems with?
Nothing besides the whole question mark and oh god, what is his
Aaron
NWA
Stevens?
name? Aaron Stevens stuff. Nothing to me stood out besides what that and what happened at the end. And I don't know if it's just because I like goofy stuff like that. You know, I think I like kind of goofy old school stuff like that match was. And I also like the hybrid stuff of like what we have today, and then everything else in between is kind of like, man.
Hold up, but you said start off with the ugly. So I said, what did you have problems with?
The problem, I thought a big chunk of the show was boring.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying now. So you thought
It's
Aaron
like,
Stevens and the question mark and the ending were the most entertaining things on the show.
yes, because I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, I was dozing off watching part of the show. I was trying to stay up, but it just wasn't that entertaining to me.
Don't worry, we're gonna be sponsored by Blue Chew very soon. You'll be able to stay up as long as possible for these shows.
I can't wait till we get to those segues. I don't know what was bad for you. What did you not care about?
I don't know if it was just because Xavier Mustafa, I watched it at his place. I don't know if it's because he steals his internet from his neighbors 4 doors down, or if it was actual production botches on NWA's part. But we kept having audio issues, syncing issues. So I didn't really like those as expected. Even AEW with their billion dollar owners, $1 million budget, they had production gaps when they first started out. But it was very prevalent on the show, and especially once the credits rolled at the end, and then it came back on, and I'm not gonna give away the surprise yet for those of you who haven't seen it, but we'll get into it. When the person came back out to start talking, and our feed completely froze and didn't come back in until they were done speaking. I don't know what that was all about. So it was just some weird production issues, or at least feed issues on. Like I said, I don't know if that was our bit rate or what was really going on there, but I had an issue with that. And I didn't like the way they put together their promo packages and how they aired their promo packages. I don't know if it was them continuing to just try to build hype for buys during the pay-per-view, which makes no sense, but they pretty much kept running the same promo packages. And maybe I'm just used to the flash and flare of the WWE and the AEW and the way that they produce their promo packages leading into their fights, but there was no, like, they didn't leave any type of immediacy to the proceedings. And I also didn't like their placement. They weren't placed where they should be, in my opinion. Like, you would have the promo package of James Storm and Nick Aldis going back and forth, and then they'd come back from that promo package, and we're going into the Aaron Stevens and Ricky Starks match. And so I thought those things were kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because I'm spoiled from the WWE and AEW and even TNA, where like I'm used to these video packages with these great visuals and these rich colors and
Making the
stuff
smallest
like that.
things, making the smallest parts of the feud seem spectacular.
Yeah, and I just felt like I don't know. I felt like I kind of recorded that myself and just threw it together and put it online instead of like adding any not necessarily special effects, but doing some color tweaking and stuff like that. Like I think that's very lacking. But then again, I know the NWA is trying to give you that old school feel. So I guess I have to say, if that's what they're trying to do, they did succeed. Because, back in the day, when you look at, Ric Flair cutting those promos, that's what you got. It
Right.
wasn't nothing spectacular. It wasn't nothing when they did video packages back then. It wasn't nothing spectacular. It was just like, here, this is what happens. Here's the facts. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a little jarring because it's just not what I'm used to. Maybe that's my, millennial. I can't even say the word. Millennial.
Millennialism.
Yeah,
Millennial.
I can't. That word is not coming out of my mouth. Yep. Maybe that's me being that I'm just a
Predisposed.
little, spoiled.
Okay.
So
But yeah,
it's getting.
those were pretty much my two main issues on the show. And then I also had an issue with the main event, and it was mainly of how it was booked. The right man won. Nick Aldis winning. I didn't have a problem with that. But the way that the special guest referees were used, I didn't really understand. Like it well, if that's gonna be the stipulation, I don't know. It seemed like Camille having the night off, it kind of came into play with that first fall, but then nothing else really came of it. Maybe we'll have some fallout on Tuesday on Power. But even having Tim Storm out there and David Hebner or Dave Hebner or whatever, it really didn't have anything on the match. And like I said, maybe we'll get some fallout from it on Tuesday with Camille coming out there when Nick Aldis told her not to, and maybe James Storm will go off on Tim Storm because he counted him, or he gave the match to Nick Aldis when he was unresponsive, and maybe he'll be like, "I never quit. I never quit." You, I don't know, but you was
I
knocked
think
out, dude.
I think the word you were looking for was anticlimactic.
Yeah.
It was very anticlimactic. It was like, whoa, well, that's the end of the match. Okay. And then the roof blew off the place. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, what was since we're starting with the bad and the ugly, what was the worst match of the night for you?
Ooh, if I had to pick a worst match of the night, probably I would probably have to say the Thunder Rosa match.
Really?
I didn't care for that at all. No offense against the three parties that was in there. I know all the parties in there are good. I just didn't. I don't know. I just didn't care for the match at all.
I was gonna pick the Melina and Marty Bell and Allison K and ODB match. I felt like they weren't syncing up well.
It wasn't, but you know what? ODB is one of those people, man, that like she gets the crowd going. She works the crowd. She has that baby face fire, when she's like, playing, I don't even know what to call it. Cuffing the boobs and everything, like, that's she brought that energy where I felt there wasn't that much energy in that Thunder Rosa and the Thunder Rosa match.
I felt there was energy on Thunder Rosa's part. Tasha Steeles, I didn't felt like brought the energy. She came out there with loser body. I actually enjoyed the Thunder Rosa match, and I enjoyed the ending of it pretty much. But it also the ending of it kind of showed like why does Thunder Rosa have to align herself with Melina and Marty Bell because she pretty
She
much took
destroyed
out the women's
everybody
division
else.
by herself. You said what?
I think because she destroyed everybody else.
Yeah, because she destroyed everybody by herself. She like I found that kind of hilarious. Like,
She's a strong, independent woman that don't need no man.
I don't know about that.
She's a strong, independent wrestler that don't
Yeah,
need
but
no
she
man.
took out Ashley Vox and Tasha Steeles all by herself, and then you look at Melina and Marty Bell lost, and Thunder Rosa didn't even come down to the ring with them at all. And I felt like, and when we gave our predictions, I was like, Allison Kay's been getting her ass whooped by that crew for the past 7 weeks or 8 weeks. I felt like she was supposed to win, and she did win with ODB, but I felt like Melina's crew should have got some of their heat back after losing. But who knows? Maybe this was a one off with ODB and she's not going to be coming back. But if ODB was going to be coming back, I think that Thunder Rosa should have came down to help get back some heat for her crew. Because I don't know, this was a new faction, and this was their first match, and they lost clean pretty much.
Yeah.
and left with no heat. So that I didn't really like that. What was match of the night for you?
I would probably have to go with the question mark match.
Oh,
Now,
question mark and
granted,
Trevor Murdoch.
it wasn't a great technical match or anything, but I just think just the gimmick and Aaron Stevens just made everything. I mean, I like the three-way Aaron Stevens had too.
Well, I was gonna say that was my match tonight. Was the Ricky Starks, Colt Cabana, and Aaron Stevens match?
Maybe I'm gonna change it. Maybe I'm gonna say that was my favorite match, and the other one was my second favorite.
Yeah.
Ironically, the same people in both matches.
And it's also kind of funny when you really look at it is that how much airtime that Aaron Stevens and the question mark got, because not only did they have the match with Trevor Murdoch, they came out and did a whole promo doing the Mongrovian flag ceremony and
Hmm.
talking about karate, and then coming down for the triple threat match for the national championship, and Aaron Stevens winning that. So I don't know. It's looking like Aaron Stevens over here is getting all of the things that I guess Impact didn't know how to do with him, and he's doing it, and he's done it all in 8 weeks.
You know what? And even I said this even in WWE, like that guy has talent. I mean, that guy took every piece of crap WWE gave him and made it better. You know,
Intellectual
made it
savior.
entertaining. I mean, when he was the Miz's stunt double, like that was, I mean, that was awesome. That's and so like this, him doing the little silly stuff like hiding under the little, I don't even want to call it a curtain, but hiding under a little thing under the
Christmas tree.
camera and just kind of like keeping an eye on the match. And then I was like, this guy is gonna come right at the end. Sure enough, question mark guy interferes. He's right there for the pin. One, two, three. I thought it was good storytelling, and that guy's great. I'm very interested to see what they do with him here in the NWA.
Yeah. And I did like the actual ending, like how Nick Aldis retained his title. I like him kind of making it seem, because I started to say something, I stopped. Making it seem like he pulled the turnbuckle cover off unintentionally.
Hmm. Until you realize they were in that penny predicament, and when he kicks him off, he's going to go right into it.
Right, because Nick Aldis is a very confusing character for me in NWA. Is he a like James Storm got booed profusely. Nick Aldis is over as hell. I guess you could just say he is the Macho Man, because Macho Man would talk trash to Miss Elizabeth and people would boo, but he hit that ring, he's getting cheered and everything. He's kind of like
Hmm.
in that role, like he's telling Camille, get backstage. I didn't tell you to come out here, and not letting her speak in interviews, and people were booing him for that. But then he comes out for his match and he's getting cheered. He pulls the top turnbuckle cover off and slams James Storm face into it and wins. And he's kind of getting jeered. And then he goes over to the table and cuts a promo about how he would say that this is his ring, but this is our ring now. And now he's getting cheered again.
Yep. The
And,
good tweening action.
and then it happened. The wrestling
What
world,
happened?
and
Please
actually,
tell us.
and actually, it's kind of funny to me because I would feel like this was much bigger news, and I'm not seeing a lot of the so-called wrestling websites and publications out here really talking about it as much as I would think that they would. I thought that this would have blew the top off of the wrestling world. But Marty Skrull, Villain Enterprises, has landed in NWA.
What's great about that is we knew after Final Battle that his contract was going to be up, and everybody was predicting that he'll go to AEW, which a lot of people figured he'll go to AEW because a lot of his friends are there that he worked with in Ring of Honor. But him actually showing up at NWA, I think is actually good for him because I feel if he would have went to AEW, he would have been overshadowed by all of the other people they have there. You know, your Kenny Omega, your Young Bucks, your like. Even though he's a good character that will be able to stand out, but I think he would just be battling with everybody for screen time and stuff like that. I think right now he's in the best place where he can grow and become even better. So when he goes to one of those places later, he'll be even bigger star than he was.
Him coming to NWA is kind of him betting on himself. It's the thing that people always said that LeBron James was afraid to do. And then he went back to Cleveland and you brought that ring there. That's kind of what Marty Sklar going to NWA is.
Mm.
He could have went over there with his friends and played with the Heat and everything, and win a couple championships and everything. But you know what? I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna go back to Cleveland and I'm gonna get this ring.
And I'm kind of curious, like, who else are they going to bring in? You know, they're going to bring in any other of these big names that, just recently lost
Oh,
contracts.
like
Not
ACH.
saying, no, nobody's talking about ACH. I'm thinking more so of Brody Lee,
I'm pretty
Could you
sure.
see him in NWA? I could.
I think that's where he should go. If he goes to AEW, who's he gonna feud with? It's gonna be him and Luchasaurus and Jake Hager going at it because everybody else there is like a third of his size.
Yeah, I would let those AEW guys figure out what they need to do with the talent they have. I think adding more just complicates
Let's
things.
go get some Buddy. Let's go get some Buddy Lee and Trevor Murdoch action going on. Some Josephus and Buddy Lee, Brody Lee. You got me saying Buddy Lee, Brody Lee action going on. But I have a
Those two.
theory. I have a theory about Villain Enterprises coming to NWA, and it is that, and a lot of people who I did see responding were saying that this may be a bridge for Marty Scurll, which it may be. This is the same path that Cody took. You know, went to NWA for a little bit to sharpen his tools and everything. When
There's that Blue Chew transition.
when you really look at it though, Marty Scurll going to NWA makes a lot of sense for the fact that, all right, their next pay per view is in 6 weeks. I think it's January 24th. That's the next pay per view for NWA. AEW isn't having their next pay per view until February. So, and for those of you who don't know, NWA, they do have a TV show every week, but they film all of those episodes over the course of like 2 or 3 weeks. So, with them filming all of those episodes over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, Marty Scurll can fulfill his obligations there if he's signed on. Because how NWA said that they're running things is that it's in seasons. So what we just saw leading up to Into the Fire was season 1, and then going from Into the Fire, now we're headed into season 2. So Marty Scurll showing up could be the season premiere of season 2. They film all of these episodes. He fulfills his contractual obligations. He goes to the pay-per-view to do whatever he's going to do. Maybe it's going to be him and Nick Aldis one-on-one. Maybe it's going to be him and Nick Aldis in a triple threat, possibly. It could be Eli Drake, Nick Aldis, and Marty Scurll or something like that. And once all those episodes are filmed and he's done that pay-per-view, now he can take a month off. Or maybe he does come back and he keeps working and he films all of some more stuff for NWA for season 3, if they're going to do another pay-per-view in February. And by the time all of that stuff airs, everybody's like, "Oh, he's an NWA guy." And then Marty Scurll can premiere at the next pay-per-view for AEW. That's my theory, is that he does 1 or 2 seasons. If the pay-per-views are what NWA is going to call their seasons, he's there for 1 or 2 seasons, and then he can still pop up in AEW at their February pay-per-view.
That's interesting. That's an interesting theory. The only thing about that is, would the NWA really think that's an investment to have him for such a short time? Granted, I know that they, record several episodes of their TV, so they'll have,
They did it with Cody.
that.
Why not? why not have somebody pass through there to get some more eyes on the product? As long as Marty can get other guys over while he's there, because Marty Sklar is a big name, but he's not a huge name. For those in the know, yeah, him popping up last night, you popped. I popped. I didn't expect that. Everybody expected him to go to AEW. Like he pretty much, but still, he pretty much jumped from a small pond to another small pond. Except for this pond is getting water added to it, and I think that he's part of those rain droplets that are going into this pond right now. Whereas ROH is being flushed out. New Japan is finding a foothold in the United States, but that's neither here nor there just yet. And yeah, so that's my theory. That he's here for 1 or 2 pay-per-views because he can film all of the stuff he needs to film over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, go home, rest up, relax, live his life, train, do all the stuff that he wants to do. And then eventually he can pop up in AEW in February and it'd be unexpected again because everybody be like, oh, he's working with NWA. And
you know what I would like to come out of that if he does go to AEW, I would love to see him and Jericho mix it up. I think that would be very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Him as a babyface, Jericho as the heel. The villain versus the champion.
It'll be interesting. I know I already can see Jericho's promos. You the Birdman? You the Birdman, huh? You gonna give me the plague? Is that what you're gonna do? You gonna put your beak in my face?
Yeah, with your stupid mustache and your stupid hat. Your stupid.
Yeah,
interesting. So let's see if your theory plays out.
But then another thing that I want to bring up from the NWA show last night is also that they announced the return of the TV title. And I know the NWA has said they've been searching for a TV deal, and that's what the whole NWA Power thing is. So they revealed the TV title, but they haven't revealed if they're going to have a TV deal just yet. So that's very interesting to me.
I think YouTube counts as TV. You can play it on your TV.
Well, they do have YouTube TV.
So I think that will count as a legit that would meet the criteria.
Social media champion. Zack Ryder or Sue. Cease and desist. I did it first.
Facts.
But yeah, so that's very interesting. I actually think that TV title looks great. NWA has some of the best looking belts. And it's mainly because they're all classic belts, except for that national championship. They can keep that. They can keep that. That don't look good on nobody. So
I'm trying to think, who has the belt? Who has the best belt period right now?
New Japan. and maybe Shinsuke Nakamura.
I do like his new one. That new one is pretty dope. But you know what? The white strapped Intercontinental Championship is probably one of my favorites too. And I don't know what it is about that white strap being behind that belt that makes it look cool.
Yeah, I actually just looked online. I'm gonna buy the yellow strap Intercontinental Championship so I can have the Ultimate Warrior belt. But any other thoughts on NWA Into the Fire? Feel the power.
No, I mean I thought it was an okay show. I mean overall, a vast majority of it to me was sleepy mode.
But that's also because you did stuff during the day, and honestly, let's be honest with the people, you weren't as invested in the pay-per-view as myself and Chris Black were as far as watching the entire season of Power.
That's true, but you know what? It had some high highs, which I think kind of almost balanced things out. So
yeah, because I think if you had been a part of the build, which what did we say about WWE, and they're about to have TLC in a couple of hours. There's no build to anything. Everything on this show was built to. There was nothing just thrown together on this card. The only thing that you can maybe argue was thrown together was the fact that ODB was thrown into a match with Allison Kay, Melina, and Marty Bell. Everything else, all the characters have been introduced, all the stories have been told and explained, all the characters have been fleshed out and defined. So,
and the commentary team. that was kind of thrown together. But I will say that they did a great job because I did not really. I've noticed with like commentators and referees, they always stand out when they do a terrible job. And they didn't stand out to me, which means they did a good job in doing what they were doing. I wasn't like that was stupid, or why did they say that, or what does that mean? Like AW right now.
Oh yeah, go ahead and tell Dave Hebner how to do his job. I know you was yelling that out last night
I'm trying to think what part was
when
that.
he took that bump. And you're like, why was he even standing there? The referee would never
Oh
stand.
yeah, a referee would never be in that position to take that bump like that. Like that bothered me a lot. Like, usually when people bump the ref, it's something in the corner where, they'll get thrown out of the corner of the ref to get a better vantage point, moves into that corner since the rest of the action is going away from him, then it's reverted back and it's like, oh, all right, accidentally hit him. Or some happens quick. It was like he was standing directly behind was it Aldous or was it Storm? I can't remember. He was
Aldis
directly
was the one
behind.
who clotheslined him, and
Okay.
James Storm ducked.
Yeah, he was directly behind James Storm when the action was coming towards him. And I was like, no referee would ever be in that position. Then when the guy took the bump, if he wasn't going to wake up and do a 3 count, or if he was going to like wake up and reverse the decision or something like that, then he should have stayed in the ring. But he didn't. He should have just rolled out of the ring. I thought him just laying there was kind of pointless.
He's laying
But
there like Road Dogg used to lay there. Road Dogg always had some of the funniest sells ever when he get laid out, especially by Kane in a choke slam.
yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah,
But
but overall, I enjoyed the
I'm
show. I'm looking forward to season 2. I definitely want to see what Marty Sklar brings to the table. Now for him, it is go time. I would say all eyes are on him in the wrestling world right now because he was one of the hottest free agents in the game. And for him to pretty much swerve everybody and go where nobody expected him to go, especially those who haven't been paying much attention to the NWA, I think that this was a great move by Billy Corrigan. And yeah, like I said, we'll see where it goes. Right now, he is by himself. Does he build the new villain enterprises? And we know the history between Nick Aldis and Marty Skrull, so they already have that built in there. And it doesn't seem like NWA is shied away from bringing up the past encounters of their competitors. Like you've heard Nick Aldis say, "Hey, we're not in TNA anymore. We're not in Impact anymore. You're not gonna bitch, moan, and complain and get your way around here." And all those different type of things. So I think that they will address the past issues that they've had. So I think it could be fun. And maybe we'll send Xavier Mustafa down there to work out some of his issues with some wrestlers.
yeah, I'll stay at home.
Those are your old stomping grounds.
The NWA?
No, not the NWA, just the South.
Oh, that's true.
And you are a little bit of an NWA.
No comment.
But anyways, you've been tuned in to Saturday Night Slamcasters. This has been our review of NWA's Into the Fire. We're looking forward to season 2 kicking off. That's going to be starting immediately on this Tuesday at 5:05 p.m. Central Standard Time over on YouTube on the NWA channel. That is our shameless plug for them, and we are not getting paid for it, but I believe in the product. I just want to see all wrestling thrive. I think that this competition is great because you get things like Marty Skrull showing up in NWA. and it's actual excitement and reinvigorating. You want to go ahead and give out your social media?
You can catch me at Xavier Mustafa on Facebook and on Twitter.
And you can catch me at Slamcaster TE78 on Twitter. And you can find our page over on YouTube. Just search Saturday Night Slamcasters or hashtag Come Get Slammed. Continue to support the podcast. Like I said, it's available wherever you get your podcast from. Just search Saturday Night Slamcasters. Be sure to hit that bell on the YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe and be sure to give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying our content and liking it. Other than that, we up out of here. We will holler at you guys. Like I said, there will be an episode next Saturday. Not this upcoming Saturday, but next Saturday. This upcoming Saturday, you can check out our Viceland series as we continue our review of Viceland's Dark Side of the Ring. And then the following Saturday, like I said, next Saturday will be our final show of the year. And it will pretty much just be a recap of the year where we have 20 categories from best match of the year, best promo, worst match, most improved, MVP, all those different categories. And we'll be giving you guys a rundown of what we chose, as well as covering TLC, Raw, SmackDown, AEW, and NXT for this week, I guess I should say. So, all right, holla at you guys. We up out of here. Peace. Come get slammed.